Hey guys, what's up and welcome. It's Matthew here, the designer and developer from South Africa. In this video, I am going to teach you React in a way that senior and advanced developers use React. Who are those advanced developers? We are going to really think about React in a way that these guys, React Hook Form, are thinking about it, 10-stack Hook Form are thinking, and Prisma the way they are thinking with practicality. What do I mean by practicality? We are going to create it with a fluent API thinking. Let's just read here. What is a fluent API? A fluent API is a software engineering design style that relies on method chaining to make code more readable and expressive. I'm going to teach you this. Let's get into the demonstration. I'm going to teach you or help you to create a form builder. We are going to create a library that creates a form for us. Let's get into demonstration and see how quick can we create a form, generate a form with 5 fields. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, which just are 5 fields. Let's see. Okay, I have created a library that generates a form and it's called form builder. So what we are going to do, we are going to type here temp form, let's say, is equal to new form builder. Okay, this is what I'm going to teach you. I'm going to teach you to create this library, and then from then, let's say const car registration form, okay, is equal to, now this is where we are going to build this form. This is where the magic of Fluent API and method chaining works. Okay, so we are going to take temp form. Okay, we are going to take temp form, and then we click dot. We want to add fields for the form, so let's add the field. So we want the name, which is, it's going to be the name of the car, and we will want the label. Okay, the label will be let's say car name. Okay, this will be the label, car name. Okay, let's click here. We are done. Sorry, we are done with the first field. Let's add the other one. So what we are going to do now, we're just going to paste dot here, paste this, the first one. This is the first field. Remember, we said we want 5 field. This is the first one, second one, third one, fourth one, and the fifth one. Okay, so this is the car name, and then this is the color, car color as a label, and then the car VIN. Okay, so this is the car VIN, vehicle identification number, and then the year it was released. Let's type here year released, and then what else? Let's say a car type. Okay, and then let's say a car type, and let's say maybe wheels. Okay, and then let's type here car wheels. Okay, and that is it. So what we want to do after this, we are not done yet. Okay, but for now, let's just quickly render this form so that we can see how it looks like. So you can take this and then you render this form here. Okay, at this point in time, this doesn't return a JSX element. So the only thing that you need to do in order for it to do that, you need to build this form. As you can see, you need to build this form. So after building this form, this is a complete React component. As you can see, guys, now we've got our component here. We can put our car VIN and everything. As you can see, car type and everything. At this point in time, this library is telling us that there is no submit method yet. That means you cannot submit here. So what we want to do, we want to go back here. Before we build this, we need to add a submit method. A submit method, on dot submit, we need to pass a function, okay, a callback function. This will receive our data. Sorry, let's type here form data. Okay, and then we will have to console log this form data. I'm going to teach you all of this. Console log, let's say car data, and then we are going to console log this form data. Console log this form data. Okay, so this means that this is our form. We have just composed a form just like this. Okay, as you can see, let me just format this code. Okay, let's see. So starting from here, we have just composed or built or generated a form, and let's click save and go back here. As you can see, now we've got the save here. Okay, so let's just inspect what is it that we are going to get. Okay, maybe these are the details of the car. Okay, just gonna type anything here, and then let's click save and see. So when you save, you get all the details of that form. I'm going to teach you this. Okay, so as you can see, let me just show you where the form is. As you can see, I am importing the form builder here. Go to definition. I'm going to teach you all of this. As you can see, okay, we are going to use OOP. Before we get in here, let me just show you a proof that these guys are using this form or these are advanced technique. So let's get into Prisma. As you can see here, I've got a code. Okay, apologies about this. I have got a code for this tech startup. This is finance.com. You can come here and sign in and create code and invoices. This code that is running here at finance.com, it's exactly this one, as you can see. Okay, so now that we are here, let's just go first to Prisma and see. Prisma have got a singleton here. Here is a singleton. A singleton is a design pattern to make sure that there is only one instance created across the entire application. What is more important is that they are using OOP, object-oriented programming. How do I know that? They are creating a new instance, as you can see. Now, it doesn't end here on Prisma. On Prisma, they apply a method chaining when you are creating a user or doing whatever. So let's just go to the API here. Let's just go to the API, maybe on auth and sign up. Okay, as you can see, we are on sign up. We are awaiting the singleton Prisma check here. Dot, this is method chaining, dot user, dot find unique. Okay, you can continue adding these as much as you can. As you can see, dot client, dot whatever. This is called method chaining. Prisma is using it. Let's get into 10-stack query, these guys. Okay, these guys are also using OOP behind the scene. Let's go and check here. As you can see, this is their query client. This is on node module. As you can see, that means this is their code, their internal code. As you can see, guys, they are making use of OOP. Okay, as you can see, this is object-oriented programming. So in this video, I am going to teach you all of this. We are going to create this. So lastly, what is it that you are going to gain necessarily from this video? Number one, you are going to learn to mix object-oriented programming in React. Since React is more of a function that it favors functions than classes, people tend to think that you are not allowed, or it's wrong, or it's a bad practice to use OOP. I'm here to tell you that if these guys are using it, it might be good because you know that these are very powerful and efficient libraries, and behind the scene they are using OOP. And part two, I am going to help you to really think about React in such a way that you will understand it. We are going to dive deep into the form HTML form API. I'm going to show you all these methods and how to manipulate it. I'm Matthew Msingati, the designer and developer from South Africa. If you like videos like this, please watch it until the end and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Let's get started and design and create application the same way as these advanced guys are doing. Thank you so much. See you on the next one. Hey, what's up and welcome. It's Matthew here, the designer and developer from South Africa. Let's just jump straight into it. I am expecting that you can create a Next.js project, a very simple Next.js project, and in one of your inside the app folder, you can have tutorial here and have a page here. Nothing more, nothing less. As you can see, this is what has been displayed here. So what we want to do next, we want to make sure that everything is centered. This is just a tailwind, what can I say, styling. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to plus flex here, and then I'm going to justify center to make sure everything is centered, and then item center to make sure that everything is centered, width of full to make sure that the width is full, and height of screen. Suppose this centers everything. Let's just quickly check. As you can see, everything is in the center. Okay, I'm happy with this. So let's just discuss briefly what it is. What is it that we want to do? Okay, so what we want to do here, we want to create a class to build a form. Okay, we want to build a form. Why are we going to do that? Simply because we want to use method chaining. Okay, method chaining, or sometimes called fluid API. Okay, or fluid API. So this means that we are going to get into OOP with React. Okay, object-oriented programming in React. Okay, why are we going to do that? Why are we going to implement these? I just realized that the libraries that we are using, like TenStack Query, React Hook Form, the senior engineers or advanced engineers, that's how they are doing things. I'm not sure why on YouTube we don't code like this. Okay, maybe you can also help me and shoot a comment why we don't code like advanced engineers. So without wasting time, let's just create a simple class. Now we are getting into OOP. Okay, so this is how you create a simple class. Let's call this class form builder. Okay, as you can see, this is just a simple class. In object-oriented programming, in fact, let's just get into what is OOP. Okay, maybe you might be used to creating functions and calling them. Okay, and that is it. Usually that's how beginners or everybody codes. Okay, you just have libs or utilities, and then you just call those functions. Now, why am I introducing OOP? OOP, it's a programming paradigm. It's not a language. It's just a certain way of thinking and organizing code. It just models the real world. Okay, that's what OOP does. Okay, let's just say it simulates, let's say, real world. Okay, how it does that: in real world we've got objects and they've got properties and they've got behaviors. Okay, let's just make an example of an object, a chair. It has got 4 legs. Does it have a behavior? For now, let's pretend no. And then let's make an example of a car. A car, it has got wheels and it has got color. A car, it's an object. The wheels and color, let's say they are its properties. And what about its behavior? It can move. Okay, so as you can see, that's how the real world works. And then the OOP, let me just zoom in. Object-oriented programming is trying to simulate that. That's why, what can I say? I find it favorable. Okay, it makes your code looks like to mimic real life. Maybe you might have one last question as to why is it important to mimic real life? When you are creating an application, remember, you don't just wake up and create an application. In most cases, you will have a client or somebody who's going to feed you with the business logic. Let's say this guy is an accountant. They will tell you that we've got an invoice, and the invoice can change from let's say from paid to not paid. Okay, and the invoice has got some invoice item and whatever. So as you can see, the guy is explaining to you like in real life language. Okay, so it's very important to interpret that business logic in a way that will make things easier. Okay, to take the business logic and interpret it and simulate it in coding. Instead of just having random functions, you can have a class invoice and it can have its own properties and method. So I hope you get that one. So we just create a class here. So the cool thing behind programming language, behind OOP, is that you create a class as a blueprint and then you use the blueprint. Okay, let's say blueprint or some sort of a house plan, and then from then you use this blueprint to create some plan. So let's just go and create a plan. So how do you create a plan in in OOP. The process of creating a plan in OOP is called instantiation. Okay, instantiation. That means we are creating an instance of form builder. How are we going to do that? We are just going to type here const let's say form is equal to new form builder. Let me just copy and paste this. Okay, as you can see, we have just created an instance of this class. If we want to, we can create another instance of this class. Let's say const form2 is equal to const form2, let's say, is equal to the same thing. Okay, so as you can see, instead of creating different classes, we just create this plan and then we use it. Just a moment, there's a ringing phone here. I'll be back now. Alright guys, let's continue. My apologies about that. Thanks for your understanding. I hope I will continue where I've left. But anyway, let's continue. So we've just created an instance of a class. Now, as we have said that a class simulates some sort of object-oriented programming, simulates some sort of real-life object. So we need properties and methods, okay? Methods for behavior. Okay, so the first method that we are going to create is the one that renders the form. Okay, why are we going to do that? I want to take things step by step, and I want things to be as visual as possible. I don't want to write a group of methods that you have to theoretically understand and then see things connecting together later. Okay, so I want you to see things as connecting as we create them. Things must be as visual as possible. Okay, so the first method that we are going to have in our class is called build. Okay, the one that builds the component in the end. Okay, so this is how we are going to declare that method. As you can see, we've got this form and we've got this build. So what we can do here, now that we've got this form, and then we can run the build method. Okay, how are we going to do that? Let's just get in here. What do I want to do? Let me just type here const, let's say this is going to be a login form, okay, is equal to form dot, as you can see guys, we've got build. So now we can execute this form. Let's see what this gives us. Sorry, we can execute this method. So this method will return void because it does nothing. So what we want to do, we want this method to return a component so that we can render it, and that will be a form component. I think you are familiar with this. This is just a normal React form component or React component. Okay, so form component, as you can see, I'm just declaring a normal React component. Okay, sticking by all the React rules, as you can see. So what we want to do here, we want to return, my apologies about this, return, let's say div, I am a form from a class. Okay, so what do we want to do then? Since we've created this component, we want to return this component. Okay, return this component. So now let's just go and check. Remember, we're using TypeScript. Let's just go and check what does this gives us. Now this gives us a JSX element. What can we do with JSX element? We can render JSX element. So let's just render this or put it here. Okay, so suppose now we see I am a form from a class. Okay, I hope this is still simple and straightforward. You starting to understand OOP and how it works. I just realized that these guys who are building libraries, they are like masters of this, what can I say, this type of engineering. And this engineering is not like, what can I say, popular on YouTube. Okay, on YouTube, we just create a React application and we create a group of functions and we call those functions, and that is it. So maybe you might ask, what is the problem with that? Because it works and it solves the problem. There is something called domain-driven design. Okay, domain-driven design. Domain-driven design states that you need to keep the business logic separate from the framework and the UI, okay, such that you can take, let's say, a code from a mobile and take it to web, because you've designed, you've created, you have architectured your code in such a way that your application, the problem that you are solving, is not Next.js. Okay, I hope you get that one. So this approach helps us to do that. I can take this class and instantiate it in any JavaScript, what can I say, library, whether it's Vue or whatever. So I hope you understand why we are taking this approach. So let's continue. Now we have created a build method. Okay, so this method will render this component and it will return it. I'm happy with this. And what's next? What's the next thing that we want to do now? Now, we want to create fields. Okay, what are the fields? Fields are going to be inputs. So at this point in time, let's make this a form, because in the end we want to build a form. Okay, so this will render a form component. So this means that our page is going to be empty, or it will just have this, but we know that we're rendering a form here. So a form is made up of inputs, okay, like your text input, your button, and all of those. So what we want the fields. So what we want to do, we want to have a way to add the field. Okay, for instance, let's talk about method chaining. As you can see here, we've got .form.build. Let's say the other thing that we want here, we want form dot add field. Okay, dot add field. Okay, we want this. Okay, so let's just quickly create this behavior in our object. As you can see, we can just do this, and that is it. Okay, as you can see, this doesn't give us some sort of a problem. But as you can see, if we are building a form, in the end, this is telling us that we cannot build a form. Let's look at this. As you can see, this return void, it doesn't return something that can help us to access more of other method. So it doesn't return this class, or what can I say, this instance. Okay, so let's make this return that instance. So it returns this. Okay, so let's get if it returns this, suppose now this works. Let's see why. Oh, I'm not returning it. I'm not returning it. As you can see, now that we are returning this, on top of that, this, we can access this build. I'm not going to explain this in details because I might confuse you, but I'm going to try to be as quick as possible. So this is what is happening. We've got a class here, which is a blueprint. We instantiate a blueprint. If this was a house plan, we cannot build from this house plan. Like, it's not the actual walls, roof, and doors. Okay, it's some sort of a conceptual thing. It's not a concrete thing. So we need to create a concrete thing. Here is a concrete thing. Okay, so this concrete thing, this house, okay, let's say one room house. This one room house has its own property. It's like an entity now. This was a plan, this was a plan, and this is the actual entity, and the name of this house is form 1. So this house, because of it's an entity, it consists of this. Okay, for instance, now we can point to it and say this house. Okay, we can say this house because it's visible. Here it's not visible. So this refers to the instantiated, or the created, or the well-built house. Okay, you can say this plan here, but it's not something that you can see. But once you create the house, you can say this house. So as much as we are returning this in a class which is in a plan, okay, we mean the well-built house, which is this one. With this house, which is the form, we can access dot add field, which is from here. We can access dot build. So as you can see, when we return this, we are returning more or less like this instantiated house, so that we can access it. So I hope that one is clear. I hope I've explained this, okay, in object-oriented programming. So we have just created, or we are done with the method chaining approach. Method chaining, or Fluent API. Okay, Fluent API. Okay, why this is interesting, or why this is important? Sometimes you create an object, you are not sure of the things that you are going to add. This is more like building things on the go. You can add field, you might not add field, okay? You can just build an empty form if you want to. So this means that this is as valid, okay? As you can see, this can work. So this is more like a way of composition of some sort, okay? You can just add things just like a puzzle. Add things, the pieces, and you can remove the pieces that you don't want, okay? So let's continue. Now that we can add fields, okay? We don't have the fields, okay? So the fields or the inputs, the text inputs that we're going to have here, they will need to have a name at least, okay? Some sort of the name and a label so that they can just come as, let's say, username, and there will be an input for a username. I hope you get that. So for now, let's just make things simple to help you grasp this. Let's just remove this and let's just add an input. Okay, an input, let's see. Okay, this input is not going to be visible because it's not styled. Let's just style it. Okay, so what we want to do, we want it to have a border, and the border of this input, we want it to be black. We want this to be rounded, rounded dash full. Okay, we want the width of this to be plus minus, let's say 200 pixels. And we want the height of this input to be, let's say 30 pixels, 30 pixels. And we want the padding X on the horizontal padding. Let's say we want it to be 3. Okay. So this means that this input will be rendered, okay, automatically without conditions. It has been rendered, but our border is not on point. As you can see, I've made a mistake here of the border spelling, okay? And here is it. We've got the input, okay? So what is it that we want to do with this method chaining? We want to be able to add, let's say, a field name, and then we want to be able to add at the same time, let me just rearrange this nicely. We want to add at the same time field email. Okay, we want to add at the same time a field called password. Okay, so what we are doing here, we want to declare fields and automatically they will be built here in this form. Okay, and we don't want to do that in a usual or your normal way. We want to build it the same way in which advanced engineers are doing it. Okay, and this skill will help you understand a lot of things and become a better developer. At this point in time, you might not get this. Please bear with me. Let's continue. You will understand it. More especially when you start to see it on Prisma. They are using this method chaining with few, what can I say, Fluent APIs and other packages. Okay. So let's continue. Now, this is telling us that this method receives nothing. Okay. So we can just come here and receive a name as a string. Okay, a name as a string. As you can see, everything works well here. Okay, we are calling this as many as we can. Okay, so every time we call this input, we need to somewhat save somewhere in a collection to say that we have added the first input, which is name, we have added the second input, we've added the third input. It looks like an array, right? Yes. Now, we have created some behaviors of this object. Now, let's get into properties, okay? Now, we are going to have a property called fields, okay? Okay, fields, okay? This property called fields is going to be an empty array, okay? As you can see, let me just try to format this document so that it can look better, okay? As you can see, we've got a class here and it has got property. let's say properties, and now here we've got methods or behavior. Okay, this is the behavior. And then the property, sorry, we need to take this add field. It's a behavior. Okay, the behavior. Okay, so let's continue. Now we've got this. Now the question comes, what are we, remember we are using TypeScript. So if we don't have things that are typed, that means we are violating TypeScript. Even us, TypeScript is not going to correct us, okay? So we want a type for this field, okay? Let's get into this. Now let's create a type for this field. First of all, type, let's say field type. Make this a capital letter, field type. Okay, first of all, we are going to get the name as a string, as you might have seen. Okay, what else do we want? We want this to come with its own label. Okay, label as a string as well. Okay, this type, was it? I think there's, yeah. Okay, suppose there's an equal sign here. So as you can see, we've created a type. Okay, so this type, we're going to receive a name and a label because we want the text to have a label, the text input to have a label. But what about style, not necessarily styling, okay? What about all other attributes that the text input has, okay? For instance, there is something called a placeholder, which usually it's a grayish text that will be here to say maybe username, okay? It's a grayish thing, okay? We didn't accommodate here with the name and label. We didn't accommodate it. So this means that we won't be able to add it. But this doesn't end there, okay? Input has got a lot of attributes, okay, that we can specify here if we want to. Placeholder, on click, on blur, on change. As you can see, we can go as far as creating a list here, maybe more than 50 things that the input accept, or we can rely on React's internal TypeScript to say that the type of this is this, the one that we know, plus all the attributes that are added to an input, and we can use React for that type. Okay, I hope you understand that. So let's extend or add more types here. So what we want to do, we want to go to React and ask for input HTML attribute. As you can see, attributes. But then this is a generic type. This means that we need to tell it what type of an input, because there's a button, there's a radio button, and then we do this to this generic type, and we tell it that this is an HTML input element. Okay, as you can see. So what does this do? This tells this type that you are a type of name and label as string plus all the attributes of an HTML input. I hope that one is clear. So let's type this to say that this is going to be this type. There is an error, right? Yes, because this type is not an array. Okay, so now let's say the type of this is going to be a group, an array of these. Let me just give you some sort of a real life example of this. We are going to have a name, which is going to be, let's say name, which is going to be named the value. And we're going to have a label. We're going to label this as username. Okay. We might have a placeholder, which is your name, let's say. That will be the first, what can I say? The first group. Okay, let's divide this. And then if we add another field here, where is this? If we add another field here, we are going to have, let's say, password or email. We are going to have another group. This is an array. We're going to have another group, which will have email here, and then user email. I hope this is clear. User email. and we're going to have a placeholder, which is your email. As you can see, that's why this is an array, a group of these. Okay, hope that one is clear. So we can remove this, and then let's continue. So then how are we going to add these from, how are we going to add these? Okay, as we are adding these here, how are we going to add them to this field? So let's go to here. Before we return this, okay, we need to push. What are we going to push? We are going to push on this field. Where are we accessing this field? We access this field on this dot add field. Okay, and then dot add field is an array. Let's look at dot why I don't have, okay, my apologies about this. I need a property fields. Okay, and then dot push, because it's an array. As you can see, we can push whatever that we want to push. For now, let's push a string. Suppose we've got an array, because this type is not at all a string. Okay, but we have received a part of this. Okay, now let's just go here and say we are going to receive the name and a label as string. Okay, this is not how we are going to do this, but I am doing this for the sake of teaching you. So this means that we can receive a name and a label. And what do we call this? This is called an assumptive programming. We are assuming that when we are calling this, we are going to receive a name, which is a string, and a label. And at this point in time, we are not doing that. That's why this is giving us an error. We are assuming. Unfortunately, in real life, we are not doing it. So after we are done here, we need to make sure that this add field meets our expectation, because we are expecting. So now that we've got some sort of the constituents to create a structure like this, let's try and construct it. First of all, this is an object. Okay, as you can see, the object will need a name and it will need a label. Okay, as you can see, boom, now the error is gone. So we are pushing our first element of an array. Somebody might ask, why don't you construct an object like this one? Whatever that I did here in JavaScript is the same as saying this key has got a value which is name, and this label has got a value which is label. This is still the same thing, because this variable is the same as, what can I say, as this key and this label. Okay, so the shorthand, for the sake of teaching, let me leave it like this so that you can understand. Okay, so as you can see, that's what we are doing. So every time we add this name, and my label is going to be username, and the email, and my label is going to be, user email, and the password, and my label is going to be user password. Okay, this means that theoretically we have just added all of those three in this field. Okay, let me explain this again, because here, while we are here in the class, we are still using this to access this field. Remember, I associated this with a concrete house, this house. So now it looks like when we are accessing this, we are inside this class. We are still using this. Okay, remember I said this is associated with a concrete house. So this fields is for this built house. It means that these fields, these are the added fields. This one, this one, this one. So as you can see, still this is somewhat relating to the instantiated concrete house or object. Okay, so let's continue. So now, what is it that we want to do? We've got a group of fields here that we are not using. So let's get into where we are rendering this component. Okay, where we are rendering this component. Now we need to render these component according to the collection that we have. So what we want to do, we want to type here const let's say form text inputs is equal to this, sorry, is equal to this dot fields. So what we are saying, this is an array. We are associating this array, we are assigning this array to this. Okay, so what we want to do, we want to take this array and we want to map. Okay, we can take this array dot map because it's an array. That means we can loop through it, and looping through it, we can add a function here, and looping through it, we will get what? We will get the item. Okay, let's call this item text input, and then an index. Okay, an index is some sort of numbers from, I think, from 0 to 1, depending on how many items in an array. Okay, so what else do I want here? I think I want to return something. Let me return this input. Okay, and let's see what will happen. As you can see, we are looping through the array, and we are some sort of displaying these input. At this point in time, this is the same input. Okay, these are not different input. We are just rendering the same input. Let's just check here. Now we have just created 3 inputs. Okay, if we remove, let's go back to the instantiation. If we remove one of these, suppose now we are going to have 2 here. As you can see, I hope you can link connection. That's why I said to you, we need to be first as visual as possible. We need to first create the build method, because the build method is going to render things for us on the screen so that we can see things. Okay, so I hope you understand that one. And then what's the next thing that we want to do? Let's just work on the CSS. We want to come to this form class name, and then we want to make this flex, and we want to make it a flex of column, and we want a gap of 2 so that these can be vertical and they can have some space, as you can see. Now what we want to do here, instead of returning these inputs, these inputs have got like, it's just like the same inputs. Okay, same. Okay, no name, no what, no nothing. So what we want to do, we want to wrap this input with a div, as you can see, and we want to take the same class name for the form. Okay, for the form, we want to do the same thing here, because let's see. Yeah, we want the same thing here. Why? We want this to be flex, we want it to be column, because the label and the input, we want it to be column and we want it to have a space. Let's just put a gap of 1. So what we want to do here, we want a label, as you can see. But where is the label going to come from? It's going to come from this text input. Is this the right name to say this is a text input? Text, because this is not the actual text input. Here is a text input. Let's just say input details. Okay, yeah, I think this makes sense. Input details, because it's not the text input in a way. So what we want to do here, we want to use the input details. Before we do that, before we use it, what do we want to do? Let's see, my apologies about this. So what is going on here, we are assigning, this is some sort of an array of this. So we can take this input details and just look for the label. Okay, dot, let's see, do we have a label here? As you can see. Okay, so let's just save this and see what we did. We've just grouped the label and the input in one div, and then as you can see, now we've got the labels: username, user what, and password. Okay, that means we've got the labels. If we want to change those, we can just come here and type here user email and capitalize things. I'm just changing this so that you can see that everything is connecting. Okay, and name to username. Okay, happy with this? Happy, as you can see. Okay, what else do we want to do? At the moment in time, we don't have the placeholders, and we don't have any other thing. Okay, so let's continue and change some things so that this could, what can I say, be proper. Okay, so what we want to do, we want to name these inputs. These inputs still, they are not named. Okay, they don't have the name. Why the names are important? When we want the data in the end, when we want the data, we want to know which data corresponds with which input name. For instance, if the name of this is name, then under this name, we want to put the data that will be here. Under email, the data that will be here. So that's why name is very important. So what we want to do now, let me just highlight the code, format the code. Okay. What we want to do now, we want to go where we are rendering this input, and we want the name. Let's see, on the input, we want the name. The name is equal to dot name. Okay, as you can see. So now we've got the names, okay? But the other thing that we need to do here, this method won't work. I'm not sure if when I'm saying it's not scalable is the best way, but this is not the best way to do things. So now let's go back here. As you can see here, we don't know what are these. We just, what if maybe we can take user name and put it here instead of user email. As you can see, everything will work well. We don't want this. Okay, now let's change. We want to add an object here, and in this object we want to be explicit to say that this is going to be the name, and we want a username. Sorry, in terms of the name, this is going to be a name because we want the name of the user. Okay, this input will be the name, and then from there we want the label to be user name. Okay, as you can see, so this is how we want things now. So this is clear. And then the other thing that we want options. Okay, we want options. What we want to do with the options, for instance, options. Let's see. Or maybe we don't need options. We can just say placeholder. Okay, placeholder. Let's say we want to say here your name. Okay, so we want to receive this like this. Why are we doing this? This talks to this structure. Sorry about that. This talk to this structure. This is an object with the name, label, and the rest of other attributes. So let's come to field, to a behavior. So now we don't want this. Okay, we don't want this. What we want here, let's say we want config, because this is configuration, and we are going to receive config obviously as an object that will be saved here, but the type for this config is going to be this. Okay, each. Okay, not a group, because we are going to receive this one at a time. Okay, as you can see, guys, we have config here. So now what we want to do, in text.field, am I doing the right thing? Add fields. Yes, so this is how we add fields. Okay, cool. What I want to do first, I want to push now config here. Okay, I think this makes sense. Okay, as you can see, since this is an object and this is an object, then everything works well, and we don't have any what we don't have any TypeScript errors. So let's go back to where we are looping. Let's go back to where we are looping. This is some sort of a file type, as you can see. Okay, so this is some sort of a single object here. So what we want to do, we want to take the input details. Okay, check here. Let me first show you a problem, okay, that I am going to solve. What we want to do here on input, we want to extract, okay, remember here on input here, we've got name, we've got label, and we might have placeholder, we might have class name, okay, because these are all other attributes which are part of the HTML input. We might have on blur, okay. Why do we have this auto suggestion here? This is because of that typing, okay. On blur, I think there is on change as well, as you can see, okay. This is just an empty method, okay. So what I'm showing you here is these are coming, this auto suggestion, these are coming from this type. When we said and the rest of the HTML input attribute, this is what we meant. We can add as many as we can as long as it's an HTML attribute. What if we can add blah blah blah? TypeScript will tell us that we don't have blah blah blah. So with this in mind, okay, with this label and whatever, we can have a group of things here. What we want to do, we want to select these two, to take them out of this group. Where is that group? As you can see, if we are looping through this array, that means each of these will be found here. So what we want here, we want to extract from that group, we want to extract a name specifically, and a label is equal to like this. This is called destructuring. In this object that comes here with the name and label, we are extracting only these, okay. We are extracting only these because we want to use them like in a specific way. So as you can see, here is the name and here is the label. So let's just go check and see if nothing has changed. Now we've got the username, but we don't have these. Why? Simply because we didn't add those here. As you can see on the password, we didn't add this in this manner, okay, in this manner. So at this point in time, I don't need these. Maybe I need the placeholder, but not other things. So let's just come here and add for the password, add it in this manner, and then let's type here password, and then user password, word, and then your password, okay. And what else? For now, let's just remove the first field, which is this one, okay, this one. Let's just remove it, the name, okay. Let's go back and check. As you can see, we've got username and password, everything works well. At this point in time, we have not used the placeholder. So let's go back here, okay. I want you to please listen carefully, because this is not necessarily, it's a bit complicated, but it's easy to get lost, okay. So we've extracted the label and what can I say? We've extracted the label and what? And the name. So then we have the remaining attributes, okay. So let's just type here comma, and let's type here 1 2 3, and let's call the renaming attribute rest, okay. What does this mean? This means that in this group we have extracted only these, and we took all the rest of the attribute to this rest variable, and we are going to take this rest variable and spread it. Now we are saying, okay, fine, after we have used the label and we have used the name, the rest must go in here. This is where the placeholder will be placed as well. Let's take this rest attribute and spread it here, okay. Now let's see if we are going to have a placeholder. Let me delete this. As you can see, your name and whatever. So as you can see, the placeholder is there. Let me go back so that you cannot get lost. We are extracting the name and the label because we want to use these, okay. we want to use these specifically. Okay, and then my apologies about this. Remember, here I'm still taking the name and the input from the details. This is wrong. We want to take the name from here. Okay, the name now must be the name, and the label must be a label. Okay, where is the label? Must be a label. Let's see if all is well. As you can see, everything is still working well. So we are extracting these specifically, and we are leaving the rest here. Let me dive deep into the technicality of JavaScript and React and all other things. If I can be honest with you, this input will still have the name. Even if we didn't declare it here, it will still have it. There is no breaking here. As you can see, there is no TypeScript error. Okay, check here. Everything will work as usual. Okay, why? Simply because the rest, all those attributes for a text input, they do have a name in them. They do have name. The word name is inside here. So meaning that this input is expecting this name to be here, and it is there. Even though we have, we didn't, even if we can remove it here. So why this name is here? In this group, this name is there, but it's optional. It's like this. This is something that might be there or might not be there. If it's not there, nothing happens. We don't want that. Okay, this is what we want. Let me show you. As you can see, it's not there. So inside this name is optional. Can't I look at that? Can't I see these attributes here? Okay, I don't see them. Fine. So let's go back to where we are using this. We can remove this name here. Do we have any breaking thing? Nothing breaks. Okay, remember, according to our design, our coding, name, it's mandatory. So if we can make use of the name that is here, which is optional, this is misleading, or we don't want it. Okay, name must always be there. Name and label must be there. So let's go back and put this name here. Let's see if we don't have an error somewhere here. If we don't have an error, we need to do something. Okay, now that we don't have this error here, this means that this is helping us. This name that is here as the optional one. Oh, sorry. First, let me remove this option. Sorry for that. This was my mistake. I was making this optional. So let's go back and see. This is giving us an error now because name must be there. I hope you understand this. This is a subtle, what can I say, technique. It's something that you might not notice. Okay, it's, what can I say, it's small but powerful. Okay, because you need to understand what you are doing. What we are trying to do here, we are trying to write code the same way as senior developers are writing it, those guys who create libraries. So it's very important for us to know what is going on here. So let's see, how does whatever that I've explained relate to TypeScript? Okay, let's see. We've got this. Now if we don't put this, there's an error here. I'm happy with this. For now, let's just continue. We will deal with other TypeScript things as we go, more especially those extended one, the more info, because as you can see here, we are not facing any TypeScript error, but I'm just doing this to explain more to help you understand. So I think we are done for now. Okay, if we want, we can add another, what can I say, another input here. Let's just test this. Let's say now what we want to do, we want to add a class name here. We can do that, and we want bg of red 500. Sorry, not, yeah, bg of red 500. Let's see. As you can see now, first of all, every, what can I say, every CSS tile is being collapsed, and this is prioritized. So this is also not BG red. Okay, this is BG red now. So now everything that we had collapsed, and this has worked. Here I'm just showing you that you can add anything here. Okay, so now let's continue. Now we've just created a form. Okay, what we want to do now, we don't have a button here. Since my battery is low, I just want to save this session to be safe because it's a bit longer. I don't want to lose it. Let me just stop just to save it. All right, guys, let's continue. Thank you so much for your understanding. So now we want a button here. Okay, we want a button here because in the end, we want a way to get the information. Okay, the input data, this one. Okay, so what we are going to do, let's go and add a button here. Okay, somewhere here. Let's add a button. Okay, and let's name this save. Okay, first of all, why this is not happening, let's see. First of all, this is not button. Let's start with the basics. Okay, now let me take this button out of here and let me put it in a form. Okay, right at the bottom. And then what I want to do, I want this style. Okay, more like everything here. And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to remove the border and just add BG green. Okay, and then I'm going to add a white text, and I will want a hover effect. The BG green must be a bit darker, and when you hover, we want a cursor pointer to change. Cursor pointer. Okay, that means this must be a pointer. Okay, I'm happy with this. Let's go back here and see. As you can see, okay, this is a button. Let's check here. I think this is because of the index. Yes. Okay, in child list. Okay, cool. React is telling us that it's mandatory to react that when you are looping through whatever variable and you are displaying elements, you need a key. As you can see, we just need to use this index. Okay, so that React can uniquely identify these elements. So if we go here, suppose now we don't have this and we have this. So what we want to do in this button, we want a margin top, let's say of 4, so that the button could be somewhat at the bottom. Okay, as you can see, so that there could be a small gap here. I'm happy with this. Now when we click here, the default behavior of a form is to put all these details that are here as query parameters and send it to the API. For instance, let's just type here Matthew and type here Msingati, and then let's just click here. So as you can see, we've got password as Msingati. Do we have the name? Let's see, we've got only the password, but I don't think we have the name here. Okay, let's go back and test that. Why is that? So let's go back to where we are configuring. As you can see, the name has got nothing. Okay, this is my mistake. So let's just add a name here, and then let's go back here, and then let's type here Matthew, and let's type here Msingati, and then let's just click save. As you can see, now we've got the name Matthew and password Msingati. Let's just take this time and talk about me. Now that I wrote my name here, I just remembered that I've got a LinkedIn. Feel free to connect with me via LinkedIn. And I've got my own tech startup, which is Finance, for creating invoice and quotations. This is for small businesses. Please check the link in the description below. You can come here and sign in. This is an application that I built myself. As you can see, we've got 356 active users, and we've got 114 registered companies, and these are, what can I say, our clients are coming from these places. Okay, and that is it. In case you might want to support me, I've got some cool and helpful courses on Udemy. You can search Matthew Msengati. All these links will be in the description below. Thank you so much for letting me to talk about myself. I haven't been invited to any speaking engagement, so speaking about myself is something that I enjoy. Okay, this is the only platform where I speak about myself. Okay, so maybe as time goes by, I might be invited to speak somewhere. You never know. I'll React conference, and then I will speak about myself there. So otherwise, for now, please uh, bear with me. I will always push my name in whenever I can. Okay, so enough about that. Let's continue, guys. Okay, so we've got a button that behaves like we've got a form which is an HTML form that behaves normally. The first thing that we need to do, we need to stop that. Okay, we need to stop that behavior. How are we going to do that? Let's go to the React part of this. Okay, to the React part of this, and we are going to create the on submit. Okay, const on submit. Okay, we are expecting an event, and we are going to do something with this event. TypeScript is telling us that you didn't type this event. Okay, we know. Okay, what I want to teach you here is that the form is not just an HTML form like this only. Okay, we've got something called a form API. This means that behind this form there is some sort of a functionality, a behavior, or a JavaScript. So let's get into that. The form has an on submit method. Okay, that is already here. That in it you can pass your own on submit, so that when you submit something, then this will be called, this will pass an event E here, and then you can do something with that event. What is the first thing that we can do here? Let's just go to this E and type here prevent default. Okay, as you can see, TypeScript is not helping us here. Maybe it might even happen this prevent default, there is something wrong with it, so we can only know when we test it. After preventing default, let's just console.log just to make sure that we have done it. Okay, sometimes you just need to write things that makes you feel better about yourself. As you can see, we have done it. We just want to be hyped. Okay, we just want to feel better as if we did something extraordinary, but we've just console logged it. So maybe I'm just saying cheer yourself up. Okay, so let's go back here and see what this prevent default does. If we've written the correct spelling, let's see. Cannot be passed to a client, whatever. What is this? Next.js is telling us that we are starting to use the events which are only available in client-side component in the browser. Okay, so it's just telling us that tell me as Next.js that you are going to use the events, which is the web API specific method. Okay, because Next.js run on the server and on the client. So on the server you don't have the events, on the clients you do have events. Let's go back here. As you can see, guys, everything works well. Let me just remove this and get into this tutorial and this route. As you can see now, let's click, let's first inspect, and let's go to console. Let's just type here met, and let's just type here me. Okay, whatever, and then let's see what will happen. Check here, guys. I want you to observe here. Now nothing happens here, and we have done it. We did it. Okay, so what happened, guys? This e.prevent default is canceling the default behavior of a form. That's why now it's not doing that. If we remove it, it's going to do that. As you can see, it's doing it. So we are preventing it like this. Okay, I hope now you understand the form API. And then what we want to do as well, let's see, we've got this. Now, in terms of TypeScript, where is that E? That E has got, what can I say? It's a type of any. So now let's go back here and let's act as if we didn't add the prevent default. We are going to first type this, okay? So how are we going to type this? In React, I think is form event on React. Let's see. I want a type which is form, or is it HTML form event? HTML form attributes. Now I'm lost, but I think this is an event. Let's check it on React. Okay, React. Let's just type here form. Oh, okay, cool. Before, this was called form event. As you can see, this is what this word deprecated. That means it's no longer used. So now we are using dot submit event, as you can see. Okay, as you can see, this is on submit. Okay, this is submit event. But let's first check so that I can teach you things slowly but surely, or build up, or show you what maybe the problems are. Let's see if do we have prevent default here. We do have prevent default here and everything works well, but this is some sort of a generic type, this one, meaning that it can ask this submit event is for what. You can even be specific here and tell it this is for HTML. Is it HTML form element? Okay, you can do this as well, but let's just take this out for now until we see a TypeScript problem that might require this. If we don't see it, then kumbaya, we will continue. Okay, because I want you to learn from seeing problems and fixing them instead of fixing things in advance. Okay, let's continue. So now what we did, we've just prevented the default. So what we actually want, we want to console log the data here. Okay, so now let's start using this E. Okay, let's get this E and look what is in here. What I'm looking for here, I want the current target. Okay, let's go back here and check if we are console logging met and whatever. Let's see what will be logged in the current target. Okay, the current target has got a form and it has got a class with this. It has got a div, and inside that div there's a label input, and inside that div, so as you can see, whatever that we have console logged here, okay, is this HTML as is. Okay, happy with that. Now let's try to dir this instead of console logging it. Let's see what will be the difference. Okay, put anything here and let's see. Okay, now this comes as some sort of what can I say, a raw array or raw data. Okay, as you can see here, we can see a lot of things. We've got at position 0, I think because of this is an array. Okay, at position 0 we've got this input element. I just want you to just see what is going on here. Okay, we've got position 0, 1 and 2. This means that is position 0, 1 and 2. Okay, and we've got action. The action of this, as you can see, automatically by default the form will do this, but we have prevented that action. There is some base URL, there are some children here, as you can see. What I want to show you here is that this is still the same form, but in terms of, let's say, raw JavaScript. Okay, the code behind this is an array. It has got all of these. Okay, inner HTML and wara offset. Okay, so let's go back here. So what we want here in this current target, we somewhat want the data. Okay, that's the data that we want. So let's just look here. I had never done this before. Whatever that I'm doing now, I'm just looking at it with you. Okay, let's see, can't we have a place here where we will see some sort of data, maybe anything, let's say something like blah blah blah, something like that, let's say. Okay, let's console log again. Okay, and let's see if we won't see blah 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 somewhere here. Okay, base URL. I'm hoping maybe I might see something like data or data set or whatever. Okay, if we don't see it, guys, that's not something to write a story about. Okay, believe me, it's nothing to write a story about. I'm just checking. Okay, so feel free to come here and look at all of these things. Okay, so what we want to do, we want a way to get these values. We want a way to get these values. So how are we going to do that? Let's not console log this target. Okay, let's create const. Let's create let's say what can we do? Let's create a form. Okay, let's create a form, and we are going to use a new, okay, form data. Okay, as you can see, form data. This is some sort of a JavaScript, what can I say, class that is already there. We didn't declare it, we just use it. And then in this form data, we are going to pass this form data. Okay, my apologies about this. We are going to pass this form data. Now we are going to console log form dot entries. Okay, let's console log form dot entries. Let's see what happened. Remember, we've got a TypeScript error here, and we are going to fix it later. So let's do this again, whatever and whatever. Let's see. Now we've got form entries here. What is there on form entries? We've got name, prototype, and whatever. To be honest, I was not expecting something like this. Okay, I was expecting something like an array or something like that, but that is not something to write a story about. Let's see what we can do. Okay, or maybe do we have to execute it? My apologies about that. So let's go back here. First of all, before we do that, okay, before we do that, we want these entries where? Let's see. I think we want these entries here first. Okay, we want these entries here. As you can see, we don't find entries here. Okay, what is or what are entries? Entries, it's some sort of a collection of all of these. Okay, all of these. The more we add the what can I say, the inputs here, their name with their values will be found in entries. That's what we are trying to do. Okay, well, it looks like now we are not winning because we don't get the form entries. Okay, we don't get them. What are we going to do? Let's go back to what I told you. We've got a submit event here, which has got which is a generic type. We need to specifically tell this that this is a submit event, but of an HTML form element. Okay, remember we had an error here. Now we don't have that error. What does this mean? This means that we have typed this correctly. Now that this is correctly typed, let's see, because this is a form. Remember, we've logged it and we've seen that it's a form. Let's see if we can't get entries now. Let's see, is it me or what? Let's see, entries. Let's see, what is it that I want? Okay, this is the current form. Yes, let me just check here. Document node entity. Okay, we don't have entries here. Form.append. Let's see. Okay, maybe I'm making a mistake. Obviously there's no entries here. Okay, cool. Okay, anyway, what we've just done, we have just saved what can I say, we have just typed this correctly. Okay, So now we are taking this form as is here, as you can see here, dot current. We are creating a new form data here. And then here on this new form data, we want the entries. Okay, let's just what can I say, execute it and see what will be the difference. Okay, so basically what we want here, we want an array of these. Okay, that's what we want an array of these and nothing more, nothing less, to give you an idea. Okay, let's see. Okay, it looks like we are getting there, because now we are finding something different than the first one. Okay, we've got an iterator now. Okay, let's go back here and again let's see. Okay, form dot entries will give us what can I say, it will give us an array as we want. Okay, so let's do this. Const entries is equal to apologies about this, is equal to form dot entries. Okay, we're executing this, and then what we want to do, we want to go to these entries. Okay, form is equal to new form dot entries. Let's see, there's something that I want to double check here, but we will see what we can do. So now what we want to do, we want these entries, because it's an array. Okay, we want these entries dot map. Okay, so as we are mapping through this, we want to get the key and the element. Okay, we want to get the key and the element. What we want to do, let's console log, okay, the key and the element. Okay, element, remember, an element is that input. Okay, so in that input we want the value. Okay, that's what we want here. What can I say, this is a key and an element. Okay, so maybe what we can do, okay, let's console log, let's see what is this, form data entry value. Okay, let's put this element as it is. Okay, and then let's type here Matthew, and the password is PASS. Let's see what will happen. Okay, let's see what will happen. We're preventing default. Form data is equal to new form data e.current.target. Is this an executable? Nope, it's not an executable. Okay, I'm happy with this. It is not an executable. And then const entries is equal to form data dot entries. Let's do this. Okay, that means if these are the entries, then now this is not an executable. Okay. Let me improvise. Okay, let me work around things, work around this differently. Okay, this was option one of doing this. Let me work around this differently. Am I in the component? Yes, let's see. Am I in the component? Where is the component? Okay, let's see. Here is a form component. Okay, let's do this thing differently. So what I'm going to do, the way I'm going to do it now is the way React Hook Form does it. Okay, this one was a simpler version for beginners. Okay, without, what can I say, a lot of things, just to take the data that is from here and then put it here. But it looks like things are not working the way I want, or maybe I forgot some things. That's not much of a problem. So let's do it somewhat. I'm thinking this is the advanced way. how React hook form does it. So we want an input ref here. Okay, we want an input ref here, and we are going to use use ref. Okay, we are going to use ref, and then we are going to do this. Okay, let's check where we are. Okay, this is on submit. Yes, we are preventing default. I'm happy with this. So what we want to do here, we want this use ref to be an empty object first. Okay, since it's going to be an object, then we need to type it. Okay, how do you type an object? You say an object is a record. Excuse me. This record is going to be of string. Okay, of string, and a part of it is going to be an, what can I say? I'm about to sneeze. My apologies about this. I'm sneezing. Okay, so this is going to be an HTML input element. HTML input element. Okay, why this record is not a type? Because it's supposed to be just a type. Let's see. Okay, I think I need these two square brackets here. Okay, we are declaring a useRef here. Don't mind much about useRef. Treat it as a variable, just a normal variable. Okay, this variable will store records. These are the records. We want name here, and we want the input for name. Okay, in that input, we are going to get the value. Okay, the value. But for now, we want the input. So all the HTML input will be saved like this. Then there will be the email, and then there will be the input here. I hope you get that. So then let's get into where we are declaring the input. Let's go to the input. As you can see, here are the input. Now we want to use the ref. Okay, maybe when I'm here, I need to explain use ref and what is it for. Use ref has got some two uses in React. Okay, used to excuse me, it's used to get to gain, let's say, to gain control of the actual HTML element. For instance, if we are using this with React, we can get few things. Okay, but with useRef, it's like we are taking the actual JavaScript input and we are manipulating it as we wish. Okay, that's the first part. Okay, it's used to do that. Secondly, used to store values that will be the same across re-renders. When React re-renders, it's mostly because of data has changed and the state has changed. That's why the React will re-render. It looks like we've got a way to some sort of twist that or bend that rule where you can use a useRef and save something here. This component will re-render multiple times. This value will always be the same as it was. If you're updating it, if it's 1, this might re-render as many times as it can. This value will be the same. Okay, so I hope you understand useRef. So when you want to manipulate the actual HTML element, you use it like this. You just take this useRef and come here and then type here ref. Okay, and then ref is equal to, my apologies about this, and add this useRef. Why we've got TypeScript errors here? Simply because we are not going to use the useRef this way. Okay, meaning that my type here, my type, where is the useRef? My type here is wrong. Okay, the input is telling us that you can use useRef with a record of string. This doesn't make sense. Of course, it doesn't, because we're not going to use it this way. In our case, we are going to use it this way. We are going to add a method here, and then we are going to receive an event here. And then we are going to take the use ref, which is input ref, the one that is here, input ref. Let's see if we are going to have it, input ref. It's an object, so this means that we can push a key there. Okay, apologies about this. A key, something like, what could be our key here? Our key here could be the name. Where is the name coming from? This one, as you can see. So our key here could be the name. And what will be the corresponding value? For now, let's just add any value and see what is the problem. I apologize about this. Input ref element implicit has any type because express as type string can't be used to index a type of whatever. Okay, now we are dealing with TypeScript. Let's see. Has got a type any, express of type string can't be used to index type of ref object, record of string, and element of string. Okay, so instead of having the HTML elements here, where is this? Instead of having the HTML elements here, what we can do, sorry, we can just get the values straight here. So let's change this to string. Okay, let's see. Let's make this a string, which is okay. Okay, now I see. Now I see. Let's go back here. Leave it like this for now. The mistake that I'm doing, guys, is with useRef, you don't use it as it is. Okay, you don't use it as it is. What you do inside useRef, there is .current. This one. This is only then where you find what can I say, the actual object. Okay, and then inside key we want to add something. Okay, as you can see, if we want here, we can have a name, which is going to be a key, and maybe here it's going to be Matthew. Okay, let's just quickly fix this type. Let's see what is this saying. Type of string is not assignable to a type of HTML element. This is true. This is not an HTML element. Okay, let's just type here e dot what do I want to do? I want an element, right? I want an HTML element. So here we are receiving e. Okay, now I think we are where we just need to change this to a string and get the value instead. Okay, so as you can see, if everything is a string, the input refs works well. My apologies about this. So what we want to do, guys, let's take this ref. Inside this ref, let's try to get the value of this input so that it could be a string here, and then we will be done. My apologies about that. So let's get this e dot value. Okay, and it means that this e might be undefined. It makes sense 100%. And let's fix that. Okay, first of all, let's check one of the requirements here. E must be defined. Let's say e dot value. Okay, not just e. Let's say, okay, e dot value, or let's say e must be defined first. Okay, let's take this in here. This just means that e must have something. Okay, that if e is defined, then this is what we can do. At this point in time, this is somewhat falsy because the key is always a name, of which that's not what we want. We want the key to be, where is the key, we want it to be the name, which is the name from here. Okay, you might get lost at this point in time because I was trying a simpler version without this whole explanation. Okay, but I just forgot something, or things are not working. That's not something to write a story about. I ended up taking the advanced way, so I need to explain what we are doing here. We are creating a useRef. Treat this as a variable that is consistent across all renders. So whenever we add an input through this method, this will be created. Apologies about that. This will be created, okay, as you can see, with the name and the label. What we are doing in this storage, mini storage of ours, we are always getting the name and the value, getting the name and the value of all of these. And what do we want to do in the end? We want to take this input ref, and where is the submit? We want to prevent default and then console log dot, let's just type here our form data, and then we want to console log this dot current. I hope you get that. Okay, so let's just test and see so that you can see it. This is met and this is password is Msingati, and let's click here. As you can see, the password is name, the name is empty and the password is empty. Okay, everything works well here and it works fine, but it's such that we are missing our values. Okay, as you can see, our values are not there. Let's just go and check here on where is that, on this value. Okay, something is just not right somewhere here. Okay, my apologies about that. So for now, let me test by doing this. Type Matthew here. Suppose when I'm clicking here, we are going to have Matthew here and Matthew here. This tells us that we are only missing this part. Okay, so what I'm going to do, let's check here if we've got E, then E dot, do we have value? Yes. Okay, now we need to check Y, or maybe E dot value, it's an executable. Nope, it's not an executable. At some point this might be undefined. It looks like at some point this might be undefined, and we want to make sure that this only works when this is defined. I apologize about this. Let's just see now what might be the problem. Okay, let's see when I'm typing why this doesn't update. Okay, let me try this. Let me type this twice. Let's see. Okay, there is nothing. Let me try again. Always there is nothing. We need to capture the elements first. We need to make sure that we capture our own elements. So how are we going to do that? We are going to go to our useref. Okay, let's just make sure that our useref is of HTML element. So we need to capture those elements. The reason why we need to capture those elements, when they are changing, they need to update, and when they're changing, they need to update. So if we capture them before anything, as they are changing, they are updating their own value. So that is part one of this problem. So now let's go to the ref. Let's see. Let's go to the ref here. So what we want to do here, we want to make sure that we've got this element. As you can see, this is an HTML element or null, which is here. We are making sure that it must not be null. And what we want to do here, we want to push this as is. Okay, we want to push this as is. What do we have here? Type HTML element is missing the following property. Form type HTML element, accept action, and 11 more. Let's see. This is, sorry, let's just check this type. This is HTML element or null. This is it. Okay, and then what we want to do, we want the input ref. Let's see, we want the input ref. This is going to be a record, as you can see, something is wrong here. This is HTML form element. Let's just type this as is, like this. Okay, HTML input element. Okay, as you can see. So now this is supposed to work well. So this is this like some sort of was our first mistake. Okay, so now we are getting these elements here. And then as we capture these elements, okay, so whatever that happens here always updates, because this whole element has been captured and it has been saved here. Okay, here. Okay, so the next step is to go to the on submit. Okay, so here we are preventing the default and we are console logging input ref.current. Okay, so let's see what is inside.current. Let's see, suppose we are having some HTML inputs there. I'm happy with this. This is what I was looking for. As you can see, we've got name as an HTML what can I say, input, and we've got password as an HTML input. I'm happy with this. This means that whenever we type something here, these inputs here, they've got those values. We just need to extract those values. And then let's go to submit and do that. So what we want to do, we've got, let's see, is this an array? Is this an array or an object? Let's see. I think this is an object. Okay, so what we want to do here, we want to map through this first. Okay, let's just map through this. If it's an object, let's see if am I correct by mapping. Let's see. Okay, now I see. Now we are going to use a JavaScript object dot entries. Here are the entries. Okay, and we want to pass this useref, and then what we want to do, we want to map through it. Okay, and then what we want a key, and let's say a value. Okay, this is not supposed to be like this. This is supposed to be inside another function. Okay, my apologies about that. Inside another function, and then let's put these here. Okay, so what is going on here? We've got an object here. Okay, that means something like this: name, input. Okay, we've got this object. Now what we want to do, we want to look through this object. We want to convert it to an array first. Okay, that means there will be something like this: array of name first, comma, and then I think array of the value. This is going to be like this. It's going to be converted to an array. So meaning that, as you can see, there will be key and there will be a value. That's what we are extracting from here. Okay, something like that. So why we are having this? Oh, okay, this was my example. Okay, so as you can see, this entries does that. Okay, we want this object and we want its keys and values. Okay, corresponding keys and values. And then what we want to do, we want to do what? First of all, let's just console log the keys and values from the entries. Console.log. Let's put a key and a value here. Okay, the key and this value, and let's see what is there. Okay, let's say met, and then let's type password here, blah blah blah, and let's click this. Okay, am I consoling the right thing? Let's see, where is the console log? Object.key and values, prevent default, yes. Let's see, this starts here and it ends here. So object.intros. Okay, my apologies about this. I forgot .current here. I keep on forgetting the .current because this object is inside in the ref. It's inside .current. My mistake. So let's just see what will happen. Okay, we want to see what is the key and the value. Okay, it looks like to me we've got the name. Here is the input, and we've got this, and here is the input. I'm happy with this because this is not the value necessarily, it's an element. So what we want to do in this element, the HTML element, okay, we want to type here dot value, okay, because we want the value. Now suppose when we type here, since all these HTML input are in a ref, suppose now we can access this. Okay, let's just check. As you can see, we've got met and we've got I'm happy with this. And then it looks like we are done because this is what I wanted to teach you, and that was it. Okay, but then let's do it differently. Let's just extend this. Okay, what we want to do now, we have managed to get these key value pairs, but as you can see, we are logging them here. This is not an object. So what we want to do, let's type here const form data as an object. Let's say this is an empty object. And then what we want to do in this empty object, we want to compose, in fact, let's say let here, because if it's const, we can't change it. So now what we want to do inside here, we want form data, and then we want this key to be here as one of the properties, and the value is going to be element.value. Okay, element.value. Let's see, form data implicity has any. That is not much of a problem. We need to type this. This is going to be a record, which is an object that will have a property of a string and a value of a string. Okay, this is a record. My apologies about that. This is TypeScript. As you can see, now that we have typed this to be a string and a string, when we put a string here, everything works, and when you put a string here, everything works. Let's then now console.log this form data, okay, so that we can see the structure. Let's see, are we still recording? Yes. Okay, so let's just type here and type this, and let's see how it is the structure. As you can see now, this is an object, a normal object with name and a password. My apologies about this. This all happens automatically. This means that in the client here, remember, you will be here as a client. When you are using this, you won't be here. This means that you don't have control over the data. My apologies about that. So what we want to do, we want something like this dot submit, because we want to receive that data. Apologies about that. We want to do something like this. Inside dot submit, we want to pass a function. This function needs to give us the data, okay, and the data could be any for now. Okay, the data could be any, or what else can we do? Yeah, for now, let's just make the data any, and we want to console.log, let's say, data from the client, and then let's console log this data. Okay, console log the data here. My apologies about this. I want to console log data here. So what we just did, we added, or we want to have a submit method in our object, which is not there. Let's just create it. Okay, after build, let's just create a submit object. This submit object will receive a function. Okay, we'll receive a function. How do we know that? We are passing a function here to this submit method. This is a function. This is a function. Okay, so we want to receive this function and not execute it. So let's go to submit somewhere here. We are going to receive a function as what? As it will have data that is any, and it will return nothing. Okay, so we are receiving it. We are receiving this function, as you can see. So here is the function. What we want to do, we want to declare as part of, let's say, a property, as much as this is a function, but we will declare it as a property. Let's go to our properties. Let's declare a handler, which is for handling submit handler. This handler is going to be optional. What is it? What is the type of this handler? This handler will be a type of this. It will be void and it will receive data and as any for now. I apologize about this. As you can see, this property, we have not initialized it yet. Okay, it has got nothing. It's not like this one. It's unlike this one. As you can see, this one has got an empty array. This function has got nothing. Why are we going to leave it like this? Because we want to assign it here. Where is the on submit? We want to assign it here. Okay, so this will be optional. That's what this means. It can be there, it cannot be there. If you don't execute this submit and pass that function, that means that function won't be there. So we want this dot handler is equal to the function that we have received here. I hope you understand this. We are taking the handler that we get from the client, the function, we are assigning it to a handler. We are not executing it at this point in time. Okay, now that we have saved it, took it from the client, the calling module, we took it here, this submit doesn't return this. That's why we've got this error. So we need to go to the submit, and after we are done, we need to return this so that everything will work. So what we want to do, we want on the React component where we are having this, okay, what we want to do, check here, we want this is the submit. Where is this React handler on build? Yes, here is the component. Okay, here is the component. When you press build, what will happen? We want let's say const callback is equal to, let's take this dot handler. We are taking the handler that we have passed from the client, we are adding it in this callback. Now we are ready to execute this. So now we are going to come here and we are going to execute it. When we execute it, we need to pass something because it's expecting data, and we need to pass this data. Looks like it's complaining, cannot invoke an object which is possibly undefined. This is true because this object might be undefined. When it's not defined, what will happen? So let's do this. If this is defined, which is, let's see, if this is defined, then we can only execute it when it's defined, as you can see. So that means if it's not defined, nothing will happen. Okay, but we also need to be clever. But before we take things too far, we just need to make sure that whatever that we did works. So what are we expecting when we are clicking submit? We want to see the data, yes, but it needs to be indicated that it's coming from what? From, let's see, where is the submit here? Data from a client, then the data. Okay, let's check here. And then let's click data from a client and then the data. So what we have just done is that in the calling module, we were able to pass a function, okay, a callback function, so that we can receive the data, okay, so that we can use it, because this whole what can I say, form or whatever new form, whatever that we are doing, this framework that we are building is useless if it doesn't supply us with the data. Okay, remember, when you are dealing with this, you are not going to see all of this. My apologies about this. This part will be hidden, so it's not going to be visible. So you are only going to deal with this. So how are you going to get the data? You need to submit this. What if you can execute build without submitting the data? we need to go back here on our JSX. Let's see here. Where is the callback? Here is the callback. We are getting it from this. Okay. Where is the submit button? Let's go to the submit button. Let's conditionally render a submit button. If callback is there, then you can render this button. If the callback is there. Okay. If we do have a callback, render the button. If not, then let's say no submit no submit method yet. Okay, and let's click save. Let's go back here. We already have a submit method here. What if maybe in the client module we can forget to put the submit, which is this one. Let's see what will happen. As you can see, no submit yet. This is telling you that you have not submitted, you have not added the submit function. That's why you cannot click, because you are not going to receive it. So this is telling you that be ready to receive this. So if we want, we can add this here. If we want, we can add this here, as long as it's before the build. Okay, as you can see, everything works well. Okay, we have just created some sort of a, what can I say, some sort of a library, okay, for building forms. Okay, so what else do we want to do here? I think we are done. The only thing that I can do, I apologize about that, I'm not sure if I can export this class. Let's see if I can export this class. Yes, I can. So what I'm going to do to just clean things up, just gonna remove this. I'm going to take this class. Okay, I'm gonna take this class outside of this method, so that you can have some sort of a realistic usage of this. Okay, so I am going to go to lib, and then I'm going to create a file which is form builder, form builder.tsx. Okay, and I'm going to paste this here. Let's see, do we have any errors? Let's see. Okay, use ref, we want to import that from React, and that was the only error that we have. Okay, so this means that now we don't have form builder in this module, and we need to import it. As you can see, we are importing it from lib. Okay, so now this feels more like a library. Okay, let's see, format this feels more like a library. What is happening here, we've created our own library which is called form builder, just like React hook form. As you can see, here is it. And then this library, once we get this class, we are instantiating this class. Okay, as you can see, after that we do our method chaining. As you can see, login form is equal to form.add field. We add all the fields that we want. Okay, and then we execute the dot build. After that, we pass in this. Apologies about that. What if maybe we want to create a register form? We can create a register form here by creating a new, let's say, a new register form. Let's try that. Okay, register form, let's say, oh, let's just type here register, let's say, is equal to new form builder. Let's just copy this as it is. Okay, as it is, we have created a new register form. And then what we want to do, we want const register form is equal to, now we are composing const. Okay, now we are composing this new register form. Let's get on it. We want the register dot, we want to add fields. Okay, we want to register a name. Okay, the name is going to be the name, which is going to be the username, and we want a label to be username. Okay, this is supposed to be label, and that is it. What else do we want to add? Then let's just format this nicely. Okay, let's add add add. Okay, we want your name, we want your surname. My apologies about this. The name is going to be surname, that's what we are changing, and the label is going to be user surname. Okay, username, and then we want the age. Sorry about this. Okay, I keep on changing the wrong things. We want the age label. Somebody might be like, remember the age is going to be a number, so how do we solve that? We can type here a type, and then which is going to be I think a string number. Okay, number. Okay, as you can see, meaning that we can control everything about what, about these fields. Okay, and let's say maybe we want a place, number doesn't have a placeholder. Okay, let's continue, and then we've got, what else do we have here? Let's say we've got a password, and then this is going to be a user password, and this is going to be a type of what? A type. The type is going to be password. Okay, as you can see, we can do everything here, and then we can have some sort of an address here. My apologies about that. I keep on changing the wrong thing, and then we can type here user address, type password, type, it could be submit, and whatever. Why type password is no value exists in scope for the shorthand type. This is an input text, type number. Let's do this again, type. Okay, why password is here, so I'm not sure why this type either declare on one of the provider initializer. Let's see, let's try with the placeholder. Let's see. Okay, no value exists in the scope for the shorthand property placeholder. I am 100% sure that this will work. I just need to check my TypeScript why this does this. Okay, let's see. Let's go and check on add field. Okay, on add field, we've got config. My apologies about this, and we've got all of this, and it works fine. We've got config here, or maybe let's do this. Let's do this. Let's separate. Let's see. Let's do this. Let's have name, label, name, label, and config. Okay, and config, and then we want to type this. Name is going to be a string, label is going to be a string, label is going to be a string, and config is going to be exactly this. Okay, this. Okay, or what we want, we can be smart about it, we cannot repeat ourselves. We can say the config is going to be exactly this, but minus these two. Okay, that can work as well. Let's do that. So we want omit here. Okay, on this what can I say, on this type we want to omit name and label. Let's see, config is equal to omit field type. Let's see, omit requires two type arguments. Oh, okay, my apologies about this. Let's take this label to here. Okay, omit name and label, as you can see. So this works as well. So what we want to do here, we want to make sure that we take this name. Let's create this config. We want an object here that has got the name, that has got the label from here, and comma, we want to spread config. Okay, it's going to create the same thing. Okay, let's see why it doesn't want to spread. We've got the name, we've got the label, and then what I'm doing here, I'm spreading config. What is it saying? Label is specifying more than once. That is not true. This, okay, this is what is happening. Let's see. Okay, let's see. I have omitted label. The type of config is without, I'm omitting label and name. I'm like removing it. Okay, I'm removing it. So that means if I'm removing label and name, suppose I have this type only. That's my thinking. So if it's telling me, let's see. Okay, let's see. We've got the name and the label, and we've got config. And config, we are omitting name and label, so that I can only have this one. Now it's telling me that label and name is specified twice. I really don't get it. I don't get it. Let's see. Okay, let's just go back here. Now we are struggling with the TypeScript. It looks like whatever that we did there, it has fixed TypeScript. Let's see, where are we creating our form? Okay, I'm in sorry, I'm in a different module. My apologies about that. This is where I wanted to be. Okay, we want to make sure that we fix this TypeScript here. So what we want to do here, for all other things, we want that to be config. Okay, for instance, for placeholder, we want that to be config. Let's try that. Suppose we've got config here. Sorry. Let's see. Property config. It's an object. We can omit that one. Let's see. Placeholder. And then let's put a placeholder. What is the problem? TypeScript string is missing the following property. Okay, cool. Let's go back here, guys, and let's do things like this. Now we are just struggling with TypeScript. This is something that we will fix. Let's make our life easier. Let's take config to be exactly this. Okay, because that's what it is. Okay, that's what it is. It's exactly this, only without the name. Okay, we don't need the name here. Okay, that's what config is. That's what config is. And then now this is supposed to be the name and label plus the rest of this. Okay, I think this is fine. This works fine. Okay, so this without the name, This config without the name is going to be part of this. If you add label and the name, it becomes this exactly. So let's just fix this here. As you can see, guys, now this is working fine. Our config is working fine. We can have a placeholder here, which is your password. Sorry, your password. Let's say everything works well. And then in terms of the type, we need to put this type in config. Okay, my apologies about this. As you can see now, this works well. What else? We've got the name, we've got the same name, we've got the label. I think this is in need of config because it's forcing that config must be there. Let's just go here and show it here that config is optional. Okay, config might be there or it might not be there. Okay, you might put it, you might not put it. As you can see, guys, now we don't have any TypeScript, we don't have any TypeScript errors, but our old form is still doing things the old way. So we can remove this if we don't want it, and we can remove this if we don't want it. Let's say we don't have placeholders in here, let's say. Okay, as you can see, this works well. So thank you so much for making it up to this far. Please don't forget you can connect with me on LinkedIn. I've got this, which is our finance coding and invoicing system. Feel free to come here and sign in and then create your codes and invoices for free. If you might want to learn more from me, I've got these courses. You can search here Matthew Msengati and you will get these courses, and check the link in the description below for more. Okay, so it looks like we are rendering nothing at the moment, and I really don't mind, if I can be honest. I really don't mind. Let's see. Okay, as you can see, we are rendering only the login form, and then we have not rendered the registration form. Let's go back and check what do we have here. We've got the registration form. It has got the name, surname, age, password. This is a type of number. And what about the password? The password has got a placeholder, but it doesn't have a type, and the type of its password. Okay, here we go again. Placeholder works well, but the type of password doesn't work. Let's just leave this one like this. We will please make your own investigation. So I believe this is something that you can quickly solve. Okay, and then name, in terms of the address, everything is work well. Let's register this, or let's render it rather. Let's render this here. Okay, as you can see, this element does not have any constructor because we forgot to build it. Okay, in fact, we don't even have the submit. Okay, in terms of submit, we are going to receive data here, and we're going to console.log the data. Okay, let's just type here register data. Okay, and then we need to build this for this in order for this to work. Then suppose we don't have any error here. Okay, let me just click save and see. Suppose we have two forms now. Looks like we've got nothing, and I am wondering why. Let's just remove let's see. We've got register, new form register, and we've got this form. Okay, let me just remove the form for login. Okay, let me just remove the form for login. Just delete it just to check. Just to check, remove it at all, and let's leave this one and see. Okay, it looks like whatever we did here doesn't want to render our form. Let's just see what is the mistake that we might be doing. Let's just remove this. Okay, I'm really not sure why this is not rendering, if I can be honest. As you can see now, it renders. Okay, it was just that mistake. Okay, so what we can do here, we can undo this form. Okay, and then we can just remove this type. Okay, this was giving us the error. Suppose we can see two forms here. As you can see, let's inspect, and then let's go to console log. And then my name is Matthew, my surname is Joe, the number 76, password, whatever, the address, and let's click save. As you can see, here are the details. Okay, and that's about it, guys. I'm Matthew Msengati, the designer and developer from South Africa. I hope you have learned something here. If you did, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Thank you so much. See you on the next one.